So I think one of the things I noticed is when I did it is that, I mean, when I blanked out of this page or started over again, is that I noticed that these videos down here are repeating itself over and over again. You can already see that everything is pretty stock. The photo stock, I mean, that's the photo from the API, and then the little fork and knife, they're just pretty stock. They still animate because it was a React dependency that I put on it. So those components, those animated components are still active. And you can see that, anyways, everything's pushed to the left. So I'm gonna start out here with in the inspector. When I do CSS, I start out this way. So usually I just right click anywhere where I want to play with first. So in this instance, this white space, and it quickly brought me to this class. So this is the recipe, the contain of the class, and React is the class name. So that's pretty much where a lot of we're gonna style the content, but I want to get the whole page. So because you can see down here, this is the player, or the player that's repeating itself 8 times. So, but most importantly, I want to play with this because I want to set up the format for the entire page, which is the guest page dashboard. So that's where I want to look at first. All right, so what I did here, I clicked here. I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing. So inside these element, so the first thing I know, I just want to do like a display. I want to do a grid or a flexbox, so that's what I'm thinking about when I think about mobile view. So I'm going to go with grid. All right, so if I highlight my as I highlight, so you can see it. So usually when I finish, you'll notice that, so after the grid, I say I narrow the width by 2%. The width of the grid. Now you can see, like, I have these two little brown gaps right there in the right corner. So I want to split them to the middle. So I'm gonna mark. I think I could do something else, but I put margin 0 out. It works fine. And that's what I'm using right now. Because you can see now, if I move this down a little bit and highlight it again, you can see now there are two little brownish parts are evenly between 1% on each side. So that's how I did that. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is set up the columns or the grid templates. So in CSS grid, so I just put, this is what I do a lot. And in this case, I used 60% and by 40. So 60% for the container of the recipe or the recipe contain class, and then the 40% will be the player class. That's the way I'm looking at it. And you can see it shifted over to the other side of the screen. If I were to put rows, it'll be up and down. If I do it, let's put the same way. 40. Yeah. Same thing. And you can see that it's 60% downwards and then 40% or the rest of the way. But that's not what I want to do here. I'm trying to form up the desktop view first. So I put columns. and I put 40. Side by side. For some odd reason, I put an overflow. I'm gonna leave that out. And then of course I put my background color. I don't know why I said transparent, but that's what I put. And honestly, I don't even think that's necessary, to be honest. So there's one thing I forgot though here though. So as you can see, I need to create a gap between the 60% of the recipe container and then the 40% of the player. So I can say grid, I think it's gap or grid column gap, and I'll say about 10%, and then you can see that it moves over by 10%. So once I feel like I finish where I feel where it's good enough, then I go ahead and what I usually do, I just quickly I would just copy, and in my text editor I'll just paste it. However, that's not going to work unless you write the class first. So I think what was it called? Guest page dashboard. That's what I called it. Alright, so now I save it. It should stay in the same spot. Now it's already, you don't see the change now because I did it in the inspector. But if I didn't make this change in here inside the editor and I refresh it, it'll go back to the original. But because I already how would you say, I copy and paste over the style, so, and everything in all the imports are correctly in place. Let's see, especially here. Actually, I don't see anything in there. This is some odd stuff right now I'm looking at. So, oh, of course. Okay, so check this out. So I put it in the wrong CSS. So in the wrong CSS file. So I'm gonna put it in its correct file. So if I save it now, it'll go back. Now this, I want to put this the guest dashboard CSS file in this one. And this file is called guest dashboard because in the structure of my code, guest dashboard is a different component. So I am going to style the content inside of this return only, which in this case is the random recipe, and then from the random recipe is the player. Inside the random recipe is the player down here, what you see right there, player. So that's why. So I put it in here, I save it. Now the CSS is not going to work because I need to go here back into the guest dashboard and import this CSS file. So just say import from, and then there goes the guest CSS. So you don't say from. Jesus. You can tell that I still have a long way to go. It'll work now. And then it fixes itself. Now I have the CSS inside the dashboard properly working. moving on. So I'm gonna put this back over here. Okay, so far now you're starting to see a little form of how it was, but we're nowhere near done. So now what I want to do, I want to style the content inside the recipe contain. So I'm going to go, now I'm going here, and then now I'm going to fill up the rest of the, in this file, the random recipe, I'm going to fill up the rest of the CSS. All right, now that we're ready to style the inside of the container, so what I'm going to do now is go back to my inspector. Oops, from here, obviously. And then we're gonna start working on the recipe contain, whatever's highlighted on the screen. So here, what I did is I made it in a flexbox form. So I first thing I did, as usual, is I displayed, and then the flex direction. I think there you go, column. So flex, and then everything. So the recipe container, and then everything inside that container or that divider is going to be going downwards, right? Row, columns. I get confused sometimes, so that's why I like using the inspector. So if I say row, is it row? Rows, columns, something like that. I don't know. Column is what I want, because I want everything to be underneath. So I still get confused, but I know where I'm going with this. So, and then I want to align all my items, or I want to center everything, or I want everything to be centered. So inside of that class, with in CSS flexbox, you can say align items and center. So it'll be everything below, all divs or all classes will be centered. Man, I can't even speak today. It's terrible. And then of course, this is where I put the background color, and then I had it in beige. So just beige looks so attractive to me. So if you guys think of any other better color, then let me know. But you can see now that how it's contained everything inside with just by the color. And then I want to give this, and I had it in a border. I had a border radius. Sure, I think curved edges are awesome. I think, and 10 pixels is usually my default set number. And as you can see, yeah, it's all the way down there. So I don't have a, but once I finish it, I'm gonna copy this code, and I'm gonna paste it in the text editor. Before that, I think it's, I gotta write the class name out. So here I'm gonna say and then there you go. So now I just save it, and then once it resets, it'll stay like that. So that's how. So nothing's happening yet. Nothing's happening yet. So the next thing I wanted to do is get the little ingredient buttons or the icons. So I have a picture here. I'm not gonna mess with it just yet. These is what I wanna play with right now and fix. So what I did was I made this a flexbox as well. So inside ingredient button, the content inside. So food and summary are within the ingredient button. So it's like a container inside containers inside containers. Anyways, but what I did here, I did a flexbox as well. And then now you know they're side by side. And then the flex direction row side by side. And then I wanted to make sure everything was centered. Can I align items? I'm not even sure. Or is it? I think it's. I'm not even sure. For this one, because what I did was and that gave me my results anyways. Let's see. That's what I want. Everything's in the center, as you can see. Like it won't move. It's not gonna move. It's just there. It's there. So I like that better. So now you're starting to see that it's trying to form a little more. But obviously, these are stuck to each other, right? But first, let's put these in. I gotta make sure I call the class name. What was it again? Ingredient button. And let's paste that. Okay, so let's save it. And then that shouldn't change. No matter if I reload this myself. So everything is starting to come, everything is starting to look as how it's supposed to look according to the mobile view. So alright, we're gonna finish on with this page. So I think the next thing we gotta put down is we wanna put a gap in between the fork and knife and the icon, or the eye icon. What I did was, I don't remember the name. I don't remember what it's called. I'm gonna tell you right now though. I gotta look it up. So, but this is what I did. Just ingredient button, and I put a greater symbol and to summary. So this is the ingredient button is the main container with the other containers in between or inside of that container. And what I did here, I just made a margin and I gave it 8 pixels. And then the font size 30 pixels. If I save it, now you see that the gap between them, or the margin between them, has opened by 8 pixels. And then I raise the font by, or the size of the icons by 30 pixels as font size. So I don't remember what it's called. Oh, a CSS Selector. I'm sorry. Yeah. So what type is it called? I should have just said that earlier. So CSS Selector is just like, it'll target the children inside particular elements. So anything inside any children inside the element. That's with a CSS Selector. In that case, that's what it did. Jeez. So we're gonna move on to and then the next thing I did was the food title. So in this class, we're gonna go back to the inspector, and we're gonna play with the food title. And food title right here. So if I right click the name of the food or the title, it'll bring up the food title. So in here, what I want to say is I want to get font family, and I'm gonna say, oops, whoops, whoa, I messed all that up. Anyways, let's go back in here. So Roboto monospace, and to change the font. Now I want to say that this font I got it from Google Fonts. That's why I have the import in the CSS page. This one I had a different font previous, but I ended up liking this one more. So I stuck with the Roboto Mono. So currently it's on the inspector, or this, yeah, inside the inspector. And so I'm just gonna copy and paste it over to the SCSS. I forgot to add the. All right, so that would do it, and then that would stay like that. All right, moving on. We're moving on to the picture, and the image. You can see on the top up here that it's not very. It's at the very top of that container. So let's say I call this class picture. Let me just type it up right here, and then we're gonna go back into the inspector and then work it from there. Here, so let's say with this picture, let's give it a width about 90%. So now you're gonna see the decrease of the picture as you saw right there. And then we're gonna say we're gonna give it a margin 0 auto. Oh, I love these things, they just automatically center. Or did it? Did it? Let's leave that out for now. Margin top, I'm gonna say 20 pixels, I would say, roughly. And now I see clearance on top of it, so that's good. That's what I want to see. Now, what's throwing me off is that 0 auto. So I don't think I need that there. So let's just keep it like that. So, and then of course I always want to give a border radius. And 10 pixels. So now there's a curvature in the image, and that's what I want to see. So that's the next thing I did. So let's just put it back. I mean, I'm content with what I see, so I'm just gonna carry this code over and then paste it inside the picture, just like that. Let me save it. So I save it, and if I refresh here, it should stay the same. And then you can see now with this green background in this picture, you can see the border radius much better. It's a long title. The next thing we got to do is the text. Let's go play with the text. And the text container. Here we go. Inside the text. Yeah. So the text container, we're going to say a width. Let's give it a width of 98%. I don't like that. 50. Is that even right? 50%? Do I want to? Is that what I want to eat? I mean, is that what I want to put? 50%? I don't remember. Let's see. Text container. And then Now I understand. Now if I put 50% and then let's say, let's just say under, let's go back to full title. Wow, I can't believe, you know what? There's something I made a mistake when I first typed this out, when I coded it the first time. And the thing is that I wrote full title twice. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just copy this and put it underneath here. Take this out. No, just move, all I did is just move it down. And then let's save that. And then finish the rest of, so let's say font size 25 pixels. And that would fix the size of that font, maybe the way it looks. Okay, so, and if I align the text to the middle, it might look better. But I got a feeling that I'm going to increase that width, right? Or should I? Right now it's at 50%, so maybe 65? Would that do it? Let's see. I think it looks okay. You guys let me know. You let me know. So we left it at, so in the full title, which is inside this text container. This is I put the font family of Roboto Mono Monospace, font size 25 pixels, the text line center, and that's what it got me. So that's how it's coming out to look right now. So if I'm not mistaken, we are done with this portion of the styling, which is the CSS or the recipe contained. But now we got to fix the player, and that's what we're gonna do next. I wish, and I honestly wanted it, my YouTube list to look like this, or my video list to look like this, but with all the different videos. But it's not. It's just a repeat of the same. And anyways, that's I'll figure that out over time. So moving on. Alright, I remember saying now we have to fix the player. So the player here is the YouTube, my YouTube videos. And I named that all that area, I named the player. Now, I decided to keep the player CSS inside the random recipe CSS file. So I could have made a separate file for it just to show uniformity, like, guest page dashboard has its own CSS file, and then random recipe will have its own CSS file, and then player will have its own CSS file. But I actively decided that day when I built it to leave it all in the random recipe at .is.css, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. So let's go. Let's play with the inspector, and then we'll transfer it over to the text editor. So here, what I put to make this happen, I use position, and I use the relative position. And then there's, I was trying to think of a reason why I named it, I put it like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's how it is at its current form. So, and then there's a width and height class name. I think it's inside here. Oh, right here. Okay, the videos themselves. These appear 8 times, so I wonder. That's a video. There's something about this that really bothering me, and I can't get it over. I can't get over it. But they're all the same. There's something about this that's bothering me, and I think I have a solution for it. The more I think about it, because originally I wanted to have it like this. All the videos showing, and then with the gaps in between, with like, okay, so I can make, for example, I can make this into a CSS grid, or I could display the grid and make grid template columns, and then have them all. But that's gonna I don't know. I'm gonna leave that as is. So, okay, so originally I wanted to finish this. I mean, I still want to finish it, but I wanted to keep talking about it. It's just I can't get my mind off of this. But I'm gonna keep it. So, I don't know. I don't know how to describe this at this moment. So, anyway, let's ignore that and let's continue. Okay, so inside this player, what I put before I start changing things, well, width and height. So let's play it. So width and height. Ignore the width and height because that's the width and height of the embedded video. But in the CSS file, I put right, and then that's what I did. And I think if I put these in the CSS file, nothing's happened. I think those videos disappear. Look at this. I'm all messed up right now. Let me try. Let me finish this class real quick and then put everything in there. But then I need to also add the player as well. I forgot to say that once I saw that. I don't know. Say that. Okay, so now the videos have disappeared. Now they're showing up one at a time. So it looks like I'm gonna finish this format first, and then I have to work on that and get it. Work on those videos and get it the way I want it, because that's the way I want it originally. Not the way it looks now, but the way it looks previous, like the long list. So must have got in here by accident. So in this video I realized what I can do. So leaving that alone. So right now, as you can see, everything is in the correct format as it was earlier, or as it was previous. But still. Nothing's happening still. You see, after all this time we spent and nothing happened. But this is where it all changes. So we're gonna go back to the guest dashboard SCSS, and then we're gonna add. Where's this guest dashboard SCSS? Oh, we're already here. And then we're gonna add a media query, such as I think it's max. The max width would be 970, and then I said the guest page dashboard, and then I displayed. And remember, it used to be a grid, and now from 970 down, I'm gonna display a flex. I spelled display wrong. And then I'm going to say flex direction, column, and then with a width of 100%. So 100% across the screen. Let's see what that does. All right, so as you can see, after 970 or 970 and below, that's the format of the page that we have currently right now. Okay, as you can see, now it's starting to look more like a mobile view, and anything up beyond 970, it'll go to its grid view, as you can see right